Do you ever wish you could just pick up some seemingly meaningless creature, raise it above your head, and rip it apart with your bare hands, letting its entrails shower down on you in a rain of chunky reds? Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'd have to be some kind of sicko, right? But if that were a fantasy you and I shared, you're in luck. Space Marine 2 is one hell of a testosterone-filled, bullet-spitting, spine-ripping, Tyranid exterminating death fest that brings the Warhammer 40k universe to gruesome life with every heavy stomp of your Ultramarine's lore-accurate ankle-armored boot. It's been quite some time since I've experienced such satisfying combat in a shooter. There are definitely some similarities to the Gears of War series in the sense that your movement is slower, it's third person, the attacks feel juicy on contact, things like that. But if anything, it takes the areas that Gears of War is lacking and packs it with even more satisfyingly brutal combat. Instead of hiding behind cover, you have melee attacks that allow you to jump directly into the fray. The game encourages you to take on insurmountable odds without hesitating. You're an Ultramarine, damn it! You see that giant swarm of bug-like aliens that would make any normal person shake in their boots? Well, you're a towering death dealer, armed to the teeth that isn't scared of shit. I am admittedly an average fan of the Warhammer universe. I know snippets of the lore and I think it's all insanely cool and fascinating, but I've honestly never delved into it much past the video games. I've played quite a few of them from all different genres, and have enjoyed them all to varying degrees. The most recent one I played was Darktide. That game is set in the same 40k universe, but it just didn't land with me. I really tried to get into it, but it just fizzled and felt somewhat empty. Then comes Space Marine 2, where Darktide was a strung out pothead that couldn't form a clear thought as he came down from a Cheeto dust high. Space Marine 2 is a coked out Scarface, duplicated in kaleidoscope vision that never runs out of explosives for his machine gun mounted grenade launcher. After so many games in the Warhammer universe, this one finally feels like 40k should. It's epic, dark, hopeless, gore covered, rage fueled, and just so fun to play. From the beginning of the game, it's obvious you will always be overwhelmed by the seemingly endless waves of the enemy. And oh, how satisfying it is to behold those waves of alien freaks as they move from the distant battleground to right in front of you, ready to taste the steel of your blade. Every step you take through this universe is either over the bodies of the unlucky dead strewn across the planet, or onto a blank canvas, waiting to be painted as soon as you rip the limbs from the Tyranid scum to use as your bloody paintbrushes. The combat is immensely fun to control and to behold. It smoothed the transition between unloading a magazine into an elite enemy, to parrying an attack from who knows what direction, to slicing through the medial drones as they rush you. It's always frenetic. And oh, the executions. They just never get old. The only time I wasn't buried in enemy hordes is near the end of the game when it shifts its focus more on combating the boss. But it made sense with the story and was an enjoyable boss encounter. I'll be honest though, I never got around to playing the original Space Marine. So there are some story beats that, though I could piece it together, probably didn't hit as hard as they should have.
Should you falter on the path for even a moment, I will show no mercy.
But even so, I thought the story was engaging, had fun twists and turns, and didn't let off the gas. Even in the last 60 seconds of the game, it's still hitting you with reveals you may or may not have seen coming. Even with my lack of supreme knowledge from the Library Sanctus, I loved the campaign, all the way through the credits. And with the way it ended, I'm hoping we get a part 3 before another 13 years have passed. The campaign is certainly the focus and highlight of this game, but it does feature 2 other modes. An operations mode that has matchmaking, or you can grab 2 other friends, just like the main campaign. There are 6 of those missions, and they're all pretty different objective-wise. There's also the multiplayer mode. There are 3 different game types: Seize Ground, Capture and Control, and Annihilation. Seize Ground and Capture and Control are both modes where you stand in a circle and control it while you kill people. The only difference is, in one mode there's a single circle that jumps around the map, while the other mode has 3 circles that stay in the same place. Annihilation is 6v6 team deathmatch. That's it as far as multiplayer goes. Now I know some people are all gung-ho for multiplayer. Multiplayer is life, man! But that's not the case for me. I enjoy a lot of competitive multiplayer games, but that's not what I came to this game for. The multiplayer is fun. Well, as fun as it can be for a guy that gets his ass handed to him constantly. It's supposed to look like this. But the majority of time, it ended up looking more like this. I know you're supposed to level up the classes to unlock perks and better weapon abilities, but if you're the average Joe like me, you die so frequently, it may take you a lifetime to actually be able to level up to the point where you stand half a chance against some of these players. That's not to say the multiplayer isn't fun or can't be a blast. I'm just saying for me, I'm here for the single player and the co-op. Though I did enjoy the game and had fun with all of its features and modes, I do have to get real for a second. I don't like the progression. You have the multiplayer mode, where you choose what class you want to play for each match. Those classes all have individual character perks, weapon unlocks, weapon skill trees, and cosmetic armor unlocks. But guess what? The operations mode, which is a co-op side mission mode, yeah, it has the same unlocks, but no shared progression with multiplayer. So if I want that kick-ass skill on that really cool gun that I have unlocked in multiplayer, I also have to unlock it in operations mode. I know that people want you to play their games for long periods of time and to keep coming back, but there's no excuse to not have shared progression between operations and multiplayer. It's the same game. Why can't the same game share the same progression? Leveling up is already pretty slow, but then you have to do it twice? No thanks. Since every game in existence wants you to play it for all of time and to never think about touching another game, I get why they tried to implement a mechanic to keep you coming back to Space Marine. But since the majority of the focus is on the campaign and playing co-op missions with your friends, it just felt kinda tacked on to have to grind so much here. Like they felt they had to have some type of progression system. I'd honestly be more likely to play it if I didn't have to grind for hours just to stand a chance. Maybe I'm just cranky because I suck at the multiplayer. I faced many a foe that was wicked good at slaying me over and over again. So perhaps I just need to get good. That being said, this game is just so damn fun that I can't wait to jump back in with my squad and try to conquer the higher difficulty levels. This game is good, y'all. Like, really good. I haven't had this much fun with a game in quite a while. It's a bit of a palate cleanser since games tend to be drawn out and overstay their welcome these days. It's like the best type of action movie. It's the Mission Impossible in the midst of the Lord of the Rings. Both movies are great, but sometimes it's nice to have a non-stop thrill ride filled with action. In a time where live services and never-ending time sinks are what games have become, it's so refreshing to have a concise, concentrated game that knows exactly what it is. A visceral dive into this grimdark universe that's unrelenting, unapologetic, and unwavering. It knows you want to feel like a 7-foot-tall, armor-clad, gun-wielding, sword-swinging, badass motherfucker. And guess what? That's exactly what it delivers.